y'all, and welcome to Down Home Dirt, the show where we dive deep into the journey of entrepreneurship with the people who took the plunge into owning a small business and the ups and downs that come with it. I'm your host, Dusta, and today we're joined with Gabriella, and she is with Terry-Chefellas Catering and Events, Mood Food, and All in a Picnic. Welcome!
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule today. I know owning 3 businesses is a lot.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
Awesome. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself first, and then we'll dive into the businesses?
Sure. So, as you said, I'm Gabriella Terry. I am a business owner. I love mentoring. I love community service. I love anything and all things working with people, pouring into other people, and just kind of helping their businesses grow.
We love that because that is what this whole podcast is about, is helping other people understand that the journey into entrepreneurship is not for the weak.
At all.
At all.
At all.
We had a little bit of a problem when we were trying to schedule this.
Yes.
I remember. You had somebody... Staffing, that's what it was. I'm like, you had somebody come, you had an interview, there was something to that effect.
Yeah, staffing is one of those things, especially in this industry, hospitality, not even just hospitality, just in general in the workforce nowadays. Staffing is a problem. It's a huge problem.
Can you tell us a little bit about your companies?
Yeah, so Terry-Chefellas Catering and Event Planning is a catering and events company that we've been in business 7 years. We do everything from planning to the execution, the day of coordination, catering, everything that you need for your event, rentals, setup, cleanup, the whole shebang. And then All in a Picnic is a luxury picnic company that does events from 2 people to 100. So we're like a lot of the other luxury picnic companies that are out, but most of them stop at about 20 people. We actually do up to 100. So you can do like a full-on wedding picnic style and things of that nature, which saves a lot of money because you don't necessarily need a venue. And then Mood Food is a healthy eats, juice bar, smoothie bar type vibe that's right beside Fit for Life on 70, where we focus on health and wellness and, kind of being that go-to source in the community for healthy food.
And I visit, like I said, before we even started the podcast, I was telling her how much I love Mood Food, that I am there probably every single day while I'm out. It is one of the only places I've found in Clayton that is healthy and fast because, as you know, as an entrepreneur, you need somewhere to go.
Right.
On
Absolutely.
the go. So I love that, and I really appreciate you, and I shout her out every single time I go there on social media.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So I want to jump into your journey a little bit. So where are you in your entrepreneurship journey? Like, how many years have you been doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that.
So I started the company when I was 25. I just turned 33 on June 14th. So, almost.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So we're going on our 8th year. I'm at the point now where I'm just happy. I've dabbled in so many different endeavors within the hospitality industry, and now I'm at the point where I've definitely found my niche. Mood Food was I hate to say it this way, but being transparent, it was an accident. We were looking for a commercial kitchen. We've outgrown our our previous commercial kitchen. Our company had grown. We needed a new space, and I saw the for rent sign, at Mood Food when it used to be Juice Vibes, and so we went, saw the space, way too small for a commercial kitchen, but the landlord had told us we really need something else healthy put back in here. So I prayed about it, and it happened. I was at a point in my life where I knew like you had said, as an entrepreneur, you're constantly grabbing unhealthy stuff because you don't have a choice. You don't have the time to go into a restaurant. You don't have the time to run into a Lowe's Foods and make a salad in the salad bar and eat it. You need something quick that you can drive, put it in your hand, and go. So I knew I needed to make a change in my diet and my lifestyle so that I could be the best that I could be for my businesses and my family and friends. And so it was an accident, but I say it was an accident that was purposely given to us, especially, given to me from God. He knew, I needed, some type of healthiness in my lifestyle. I needed to change it up, and other entrepreneurs like yourself need that as well. So that's how Mood Food came about. We literally put it together in 45 days, if that. I think it was 36 days.
That is incredible
very,
for a
very
business
quick.
launch.
Thank you. Very, very fast, because we knew January is huge for people with fitness goals and all that. So yeah,
it's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yes.
That's actually wonderful. And you did it perfect timing. You said you had 36 days.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could have done that.
It was quick. It was very quick. But we knew we needed to hit that mark, to be that source for people to be able to get healthy things at the beginning of the year. So.
No, that's perfect. And it actually worked out really well for me because I was telling you a little bit earlier that I am on a health journey. I have lupus, and finding places to eat that don't interfere with inflammation is so hard.
Absolutely.
So I need that. So if you guys want to head over to Mood Food, the Beast Mode is my favorite. She has an amazing chicken salad with avocado spread.
Oh yeah.
It is so good. You have no idea. And then you also sell juice cleanses there.
Yep, juice cleanses, acai bowls. We just introduced our quinoa bowl now. So there's a lot of different options. We're not vegetarian. A lot of people ask that, you know, or is it all vegetarian or all vegan, or, you know, we have a little bit of everything that will tailor to everybody. So that was another reason that we did our menu the way that we did, is to be able to tailor to vegetarians, to tailor to people that need high protein, or, you know, whatever your need is.
And that's perfect. And I noticed that more recently you have to-go meals.
Yes. Yep, that was another thing, is a lot of people were saying, you know, like, hey, this is great, but you guys do close at 7 for the summer. I need dinner at like 8. So do you have a meal that I can grab, like, as I'm leaving the gym to, like, take home and pop in the microwave or the oven? So we started doing that, because all those meals are under 500 calories. So they keep you right on track with where you need to be. Caloric wise, and super healthy. So you're not going to like the McDonald's and things like that you had said.
Right, you don't like mess up. You ate healthy. You know, breakfast and lunch. You're not mess up dinner.
Exactly.
See, I feel that, and I love that, because that's me. I'm like, I ate healthy all day. This cheeseburger looks good.
Let me get a cheat night.
Right, and then it turns into like cheat week, and you're like, oh
crap. Yep.
Before you know it, yep. And then they're right next to Fit for Life.
Yep.
So you go into Fit for Life, you get your workout on, and then you come and you can get a smoothie. Or I'm sorry, a Moody.
A Moody,
They're called Moodies. I love that name too.
Thank you.
That's great. So you also did All in a Picnic, and you said you cater up to 120 people.
Yep, up to 100. So,
I'm sorry, 100 people, excuse me.
We'll do up to 100 people for the picnics.
So that's great. What made you, what was your ready moment that made you jump into entrepreneurship?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think for me, I had worked all in the industry right out of college. Well, actually, right out of high school. I, became a chef, so I did an internship at McCormick and Schmick's. It was absolutely fantastic, and then I just worked all in the industry, everything from cooking to being a sous chef to R&D. Doing research and development for a company called House Autry Mills.
They're the ones that they're out there, the breading, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The breader, the grits, the cornmeal, all that, hush puppy mix, all that
I was going to say, that's my favorite. There's this little restaurant, Parkside Cafe, that features them.
Yes. So I was the research and development chef there, and then, just working at Marriott, I was the food and beverage director, and just different things, and kind of getting my feet wet all in the industry, and was, at a point where I'm like, okay, like, I can kind of see areas that I would like to hound in on, but like, let's keep doing this. So I had an aha moment after working for a company as their catering director. A situation had happened at work, and I had chosen to resign, and I saw the building in Clayton that we started with 7 years ago on Main Street, and was walking by, and it just kind of all fell into place from there. God opened up multiple doors for us to be able to get that space, and again, turn it around in like 40 days. I have this thing with like quick turnaround times with getting businesses ready. But we launched it. I got the keys like right before December 13th, and we opened it mid-January. So it was just, again, it was very quick, and we haven't turned around since. We haven't looked back since. So for me, the aha moment was like, okay, you know what? I've gotten a lot of experience in the industry. I love what I'm doing. The main thing I want to do is just be a blessing to people and help people. So how can I do that, but as an entrepreneur? And it just kind of all fell into place with Chefellas catering events. So back then it was Chefellas cafe and events. It was a little coffee shop up front. Yeah, so
that explains it, because I remember the first time I was ever introduced to you, I was downtown at an event, Michael Strauss with the Design House, and you had catered.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is absolutely amazing. I love it. There was a woman there, her name was Samantha, I believe, at the time, and I talked to her briefly about it, and I didn't know that you even had a cafe. I just assumed it was a catering.
Yeah, when we first put it in, we knew that, like, not everyone needs catering every single day. But at the time, there was not a coffee shop downtown, because, again, this was 7 years ago. So there wasn't, Boulevard or any of the other coffee places downtown. So I was like, okay, you know what? I've got the experience from working at Marriott, because we have a Starbucks in our hotel, so I knew how to make, all the drinks and different things like that. I'm going to take that skill and I'm going to apply it and put, into my own business, because I need a reason for people to come in the store every single day. So we turned the whole front into like a cute little coffee shop where you could have book clubs and meetings and just kind of hang out, serve coffee, drinks there. But of course, the back was our catering offices. So as people were coming in, they were just like, oh, what do you guys do here? And it was a way to get people in the door, ask questions about catering, and grow that side of the business, but yet serve as a source for the community for coffee and community and all those types of things. About 2 years into doing that, our catering, it worked. You know, that strategy worked. Our catering business was booming at that point. We could not keep doing the coffee shop, which again, we didn't intend to be a coffee shop, you know, long term. It was just more of a short-term solution to grow that side of the business and the awareness side of like catering. Because again, you either need it or you don't. You don't just walk into a storefront every day for catering. You can call, you know, or whatever. So once the business really started booming with catering, we chose to, okay, go ahead, stop doing the coffee shop up front. It was perfect timing because at that time Boulevard was coming into town. So it was perfect timing for us to like make that announcement and, you know, transition fully into catering and then be able to support Boulevard by, you know, telling all these customers that we have like, hey, a new coffee shop's coming. Like, you're not losing your coffee, you know, fixed place downtown.
The absolute best way. I love that when it works out, when you're like, basically, I get to hand this what I built to you, but at the same time, take it with you. Like, that's so great. Like, I understand. I love that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a little bit like what my business, so we started out doing residential because of the pandemic, and because I was thinking to myself, okay, you know, I literally signed up for my LLC February of 2020.
Oh gosh, yeah.
A month later, the shutdown, and I was like, panic. That's why I said it took 6 months for me to really launch my business because A, of the pandemic, but B, I didn't know, you know, really what I was getting into here. I had just bought this house. Like, I just moved here from Garner, so I didn't really know anyone. But that's kind of what happened to us, and so now we're, you know, switching over to commercial, and I found other cleaners who are up and coming that I am just, hey, here, I know I built this, but like I would like to give it to you to continue on, you know.
Absolutely.
And I love that about you. That's so great, especially when you're not like, hey, I'm just gonna sell this to some random person.
Yeah, absolutely. We just transitioned, you know, more into full service catering and events, so it just worked out. It was perfect.
It's great. And if you guys have never tried her food, it's absolutely amazing. I'm telling you, you need to go try it. And even if you don't do catering, hit up Mood Food for, you have a delicious quiche out there. So, my next question I wanted to ask you was, who was like your biggest inspiration? Is there like a one person or a team or? It's always a hard question.
It is a hard question because there's so many people that are always influential in your journey. You know, especially throughout your journey, you meet new people every single day, and especially every year. You have mentors that come into your life, you know. So I would say I've had several mentors over the course of, you know, the 7 years of being an entrepreneur. I couldn't just pick one, you know. Definitely my family and my friends and everyone, you know, has always been a huge supporter, even the community, you know, the town, the chamber, everyone's kind of just been like a really good inspiration to like just make me keep going, you know.
And that's what you need. And,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, I would definitely love to talk about that because I always like to ask, like, tell me about your support system. Like, who is or who was your biggest supporter, and like, how was having that helped you achieve success?
Yeah, definitely family. You know, my family has always been a huge supporter in anything that I do. They listen. I'm like, I've got to do that. You know, and they're like, okay, what is it now? Because I'm an entrepreneur through and through. Like, I will listen to you or someone talk and I can like see a passion or a fire in them and I'm just like, ooh, I can turn that into a business. Yeah, that's just me, you know. And I have to be careful because it can get me into trouble.
Same.
So that's something that I've discovered about myself is like now I'm more transitioning into like the investing side. You know, I actually just invested into 2 other small businesses to kind of see like, you know, what happens and to help them, you know, very small amounts. But again, like I want to be able to like help them grow and see how it goes, you know. And a lot of times I think about it, you know, people are very hesitant to invest in small businesses because you don't have the funding, you don't have the, you know, the backing behind it, you don't have the building maybe or the whatever it may be, and all you really have is a business plan and a dream, you know.
Yes.
And that's not good enough sometimes for certain banks or for certain whatever, and some people don't even have a business plan, you know. So
yes,
it's one of those things where it gets tricky, you know. It's like, okay, well I have an idea and I have a passion and a drive behind it, but I need help, I need support. So I find those are like the best people that make the best businesses, you know, because they have the hustle, they have the drive, they have the passion behind it.
I was going to say, I completely agree with that,
Yeah.
because that was actually something that I looked into recently, was to go get a small business loan to expand my business.
Yes.
And so I go and I contact them, and the guy says to me, hey, if you're planning on getting out of your field and say buy a daycare when you own a cleaning company, they said, we're not going to entertain that, because they don't feel like you have what's, you know, the experience and whatever to make it profitable for them. So it was a situation where I was like, okay, you know, like, what are my other options?
Yeah.
And so I was just like, wow, I never realized, you know, being an entrepreneur, how much, you know, you can't deviate sometimes, because people don't believe in you.
Absolutely.
And it could be the bank, it could be your neighbor, it could be, you know, a former employee. Sometimes that happens, you know?
So true.
Whatever it may be. And so that's one of those things, like, I love that you're willing to put yourself out there, and you're watching other people put themselves out there.
Right.
Like, that's so wonderful. It's so great. Sorry, I'm
Thank
getting
you.
goosebumps just thinking about it.
Thank you.
So, where do you see yourself, like, in the future? You know, are you planning to, I don't want to say retire at 55, because that sounds, you're an entrepreneur, you're never going to retire.
You're going to laugh, but you're kind of close. Honestly, I always have said I want to retire by the time I'm like 40, 45.
Ooh, that's a good goal.
Yeah, and so like I said, I just turned 33. So, in a perfect world, I would love to sell, Chefellas, in the next couple of years, or do a merger with another catering and events company or something like that. But I want to still have my hands in the say-so, because what I find is when businesses sell, the standards and the things that they have, you know, that makes that business, they don't always transfer over to the new people, you know?
Exactly.
And so, like, for us, we're all about, like, our customers are not customers, they're family. You know, and so if I sell it to someone that doesn't have that same belief or that same principle, then the business is going to change. You know, the customers are not going to keep coming back to us for the personalization and for the love and everything that we put behind it. You know, they're just going to be another invoice number, you know, and that's what I don't want to happen.
You hit the nail on the head, because that is actually something that I realized when I thought about selling my own business. I went and met with Neil Isaacs, and I talked to him about it, and I was like, hey, you know, I have this business, I want to sell it. And he said to me, well, we can help you do that, we can absolutely get you there, but I just want you to understand that, like, your clients may not like the new owners, and so they may not go with them, and you know, that's a risk that they're taking, but just understand that. And I was like, wow, I never really thought about that.
Right.
Because you're right, they're not going to care about these people the same way I do, or the relationships that I built over the last, you know, 4 or 5 years.
Right, and relationships are everything. So to me, like, that's the part where I have a hard time letting go. You know, is if I sell, who is the next owner? How are they going to treat these people? Are they going to answer their phone calls and text messages at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night when they need something last minute, you know, like I do? Are they going to care like I do? You know, all those types of things that go into, like, being special when you run a small business, are they going to do? You know, because sometimes you get too big and those things go out the window. But if that's not your principle that you found your business on, like, that's mine, you know, then you don't need to be buying it. You know what I mean? So
I agree.
It's one of those things where I have a hard time with it. You know, I don't know if I will sell it. I would love to, but at the end of the day, it might just be, you know, this was a great run and we close it. You know, just because I would honestly rather close it down versus sell it and make money on it and it go downhill because the new owners or the new team or whatever doesn't run it the way that I started it.
And most people don't know sometimes when you switch hands, so then you would still be getting, you know, the negative from them. So I understand that, because that's kind of why we decided to pivot and help another cleaner and also just continue on. Because I was like, I don't know if I want someone running my name in the ground.
Yeah, exactly. And same thing with Mood Food. Mood Food, that's something that we've already had questions about, like, would you franchise? Would you put them, you know, in other locations? We've already had 2 schools reach out to us asking us about putting them on college campuses. So again, it's just, I don't want to grow too fast. Mood Food's only 6 months old at this point. You know, we need data. Like, we need a year's worth of sales. Like, you know, we need to see how things are going, you know, before we sit there and, like, think about franchising. So I don't know what the future holds for that. You know, I would love to definitely, you know, keep my hands into Mood Food, but I would definitely be open to franchising it or putting it on college campuses and things like that.
It's great. I honestly would love to see that, and I hope that it does take over and we eat a lot more healthy, because all of these fast food things are not good for us, especially for young people.
Right, absolutely.
And that's one thing about Mood Food that I love. You guys have kid size Moodies.
Right.
So
we just rolled that out again because we're so new. We're trying to get a feel for like, what do people need? What do people want? I don't have kids, so for me, you know, I hate to say this, but let's just be honest. It wasn't a first thought, you know, like, oh, have a kid cup or a kid size. You know, it just wasn't. So having people come in and say like, oh, do you have a small size for kids? We're like, oh, this is a great idea. Like, yes, now we can. And that's another flexibility about being a business owner and being in control of your businesses is you can make those quick changes and cater to your customer. You know, everything that we've done and changed over the last 6 months has been because of customer feedback. And that is, to me, that's how you run a successful business. When you put your customer first and you make changes in the very beginning stages of your business to literally support the customer's needs, to me, that's how you have a successful business. You can't let the customer dictate it, you know, because then you know how that is.
Keep your power.
Yeah, you can't make everybody happy. But the things that work, you really should try to do in the beginning stages while you're growing, because that shows that you're listening.
True, and your feedback needs to come from your community.
Absolutely.
So that your business fits into the community.
Absolutely.
So, you know, we can't be coming here and like starting, you know, a tanning salon.
Right.
No one's going to go there.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So I get that. And it's a very big part of owning a business is taking in people's feedback and consideration and then seeing how to move from there.
Right.
That leads me to my next question, which is how do you measure success? Some people measure it by the amount of money they make. Some people do it by recurring clients, and other people do it by the ability to move on from the business, like selling it.
Right. So for me, it's never been about the money. Like, I literally started this business 7 years ago with $12,000. So it's, you know, it's never been about the money. It's never been about how much can I make, how much can I sell it for. It's always been about like, how many people can I help and how many people's lives can I touch and how many people can I support and help them grow and be a mentor for. So for me, like, the businesses are not businesses. They're literally like a ministry to me. When I wake up, I never feel like I'm going to work. I always feel like, you know, all right, God, who can I help today? You know, who can I help make their day better? Who can I help support? Or what can I say to this person to help them have a better day? Or, you know, what did I learn over the past 7 years in business that, like, I wish somebody would have taught me that I can help save another man or woman the pain and the heartache from having to endure in a business because they didn't have those resources, you know? So for me, every day is just, it's an opportunity to help change someone's life. And I literally tell my team that, like, we get to be a part of people's lives from the worst day ever to the best day. We cater funerals, which is the worst days that people go through. And, you know, to the best days, like weddings and baby showers. And so we see and have access to a lot of people where we can make an influence, you know, we can make a difference. And so for us, that's why I feel like it's a ministry. You know, you literally can help turn someone's day around that just lost their kid or their mom or whatever, just by like taking them food and giving them a hug and saying like, I'm so sorry you're going through what you're going through. Our company's paying for you. We love you. We're here for you if you need us. And just that one little small little tidbit could be something that changes their life for forever. You know?
It's true. Just being nice to someone, because you never know what they're going through.
You never know. And everyone has a story, you know. And so, yeah, I think that's the main thing. It's never been about anything else except for me being able to be who God's called me to be, and to being able to just, you know, doing what He's called me to do, which is just to help people. I feel like if you go to work every day and you can just help people, it never feels like work.
No.
Ever.
And I really feel like that with the cleaning too. I feel like I come in and people are like, no one visits me, or like nobody, you know, wants to come over. I'm embarrassed, and it's like, I've solved that problem for you and made your mental health better.
Yes, and you're so sweet. Like, you have such a sweet spirit about yourself, and you're kind, and you're just you're a genuine good person. So I agree. Like, that's not.
I'm gonna cry.
No, seriously, because I mean, that's not every day. Think about when you go to some places, you know, and you have service from some of these people, and you're just like, okay, well, I was already having a crappy day, and then I just experienced that. Like, you know, as business owners, like yourself and I, we have the power to be able to change that, you know, and say, like, when people come into my store at Mood Food, you better say, welcome to Mood Food, how can I make your day awesome? Even if you're having a bad day, like, I get it, but say it. Because this person could be having a 10 times worse day than you, and you have that power to be able to help change their day, just like you. You, as an entrepreneur, have that power to go into their home, and they say, sorry, my home's a mess. Maybe they just lost someone. Like, they don't have the capacity to clean, right? Because they're hurting, they're sad. You have that power to be like, don't even worry about it. I got you. I'm here to support you. I'm here to help you. Let's get your house back clean. And that is your ministry. You're pouring into these people by cleaning their homes and helping change them and change whatever they're going through for the better.
That's true. Like one of our taglines is, we handle the grime so you can have more time.
See, I love that.
So we just want to make sure that people like take back their power, and like that's
that.
the whole thing.
See, you're amazing.
Well, thank you.
It.
Like, I appreciate that. Do you want to tell us a little bit about you? You're on the Chamber of Commerce for Clayton. Mm-hmm. You're on the board, correct?
I am. So this is actually my last year. I've done it for 6 years, 2 terms.
Oh, wow.
I don't think you can go any longer. I think you only can do 2 3-year terms. So this is my last one. I didn't do it my first year, obviously, in business. But I did my second year up until now. So yes, I'm on the board of directors, and then I serve on the ambassadors, and then I am the Harvest Festival volunteer coordinator. Also the chair of Bridge, which is our chamber's DEI initiative, and then I help with Launch Joko. I love the chamber.
Yes,
I do a lot with them. They're a great resource, a great asset. The staff's amazing. Like they honestly were some of the stepping stones and the shape blocks that gave my business what it was. Because when I first came to Clayton and got the space, I didn't know where to start. And Sandy Stevens with Stevens Insurance directed me to the chamber. He's like, well, you can get involved in the chamber and Rotary. That's where I would say start. And I went to the chamber. I walked on down there and opened those doors. And I'll never forget it. Maria Smith and Dana Wooten were there. And they just like embraced me with open arms. They gave me a hug. They sat me down, asked all these questions about my business, and pointed me in like the direction that I should go, into meeting people and things like that. And ever since then, like, I vowed, like, you know what, I will always give back and support this chamber however I can,
As you should. I recently joined the chamber. I'm still waiting to do my ribbon cutting.
Awesome.
I need to set that up. ADHD.
I love it.
But you're absolutely right. When I first walked in, like, that was my whole thing, is that I came to Clayton and I was like, okay, well, I've been doing this, but I want to do this now.
Yeah.
And how do I make that pivot?
Right.
And it's all about your next pivot. You
Exactly.
know, as Melissa Overton has told us.
Right.
So I went in to make my pivot from residential to commercial, and they were the same way. They welcomed me in, and there's even what is it called, the Clayton U. So Chamber U, excuse me.
Yep, Chamber U.
So they teach you how to use the chamber to get your business where it needs to be, which is a great thing. I've never seen that anywhere else.
Yeah.
And Launch Joko makes me very happy because you're basically harvesting the next crop of entrepreneurs, in my opinion. You're like, hey, this is how you're going to do it.
Absolutely.
And we're going to be here to help you, which is great because I feel like Johnston County is very much an entrepreneurial area, and I feel like that's great to be able to have, the seeds planted and having everything that you need to grow.
Absolutely.
That's important. They don't have that where I'm from.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm from a big city.
Oh, okay. So shout out to Johnston County. We're doing something right.
Yeah, I'm from Sarasota, Florida.
Okay.
It's beach and tourism and, probation. So that's why I'm here.
I hear you.
I came here to truly grow, not only as a person, but, to actually have a sense of community, because it's not really there. And I feel that here, especially when you walk into the chamber.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so many businesses there that are just willing to help you.
Right.
And it's great. And there's no competition where it's like, well, I do this too. It's like, no, come with me. I'll show you how I do this.
Absolutely.
So I absolutely love that. So that leads me to my next segue is, what is your marketing strategy? Obviously, being very involved in the community, you get lots of word of mouth, and that's very important.
Right.
I feel like that's like the main way to get business.
That's like 90% of our business, if I'm being honest. Being a small business, you don't have the marketing dollars to spend hiring an agency to do your social media, to do your your SEO and all that. Not saying there's anything wrong with marketing companies. They're fantastic. They serve a wonderful purpose. But when you're a small... I look at businesses in like different scales. I look at it as like, yes, we're small business, but we are small in the sense of like mama and pops,
Yeah.
So, a lot of small businesses under, 15, 20 employees, they do not have $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month in marketing dollars at all. So for us, our marketing strategy is simple. Treat every customer the way you want to be treated. Call them, have a relationship with them, get to know them. When the event or catering or whatever is over, call them back, make sure they're happy. It's just a basic retention strategy. Make sure they're happy, call them, let them know we appreciate them, and keep it going. Keep fostering that relationship, to show that like, hey, we care, how was your event, we appreciate you, we look forward to working with you again. And then checking in with them, so often throughout the year, send them a card at Christmas, take them cookies. As far as like online marketing, we use Canva, to make a lot of our social media posts,
We do too.
Yeah, absolutely. As a small business, it's probably the number one platform, I would say, I don't know, but that's just my guess, that Canva is probably the most cost-effective solution. You can buy Pro, make your stuff look good, post it, as often as you can. And then we just use, all the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, but we don't even do paid. I'm going to be honest with you. We don't do any paid marketing in the sense of like paid Facebook posts, paid Instagrams, anything like that. We do advertise very little in like print. Like we do postcards and things for our company that we leave behind when we do caterings, but we don't do magazines and stuff like that anymore. We used to in the beginning, found it wasn't really worth our ROI. So honestly, it is very much word of mouth driven. 90% of the emails that come in say, hey, such and such told me about you. Can you give me a quote for this? Or we'll post in different social media groups, that, like see weddings or things like that. But that's about it. I mean, we don't have like I said, we don't have the budget to spend $10,000 a month on SEO and all these things. All of our websites, we did ourselves. We monitor our own websites. So again, it's very much in-house controlled. We keep very tight control. This is not great grammar, but you get what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Very close control on everything that we do, because again, I don't ever want the business to get so big that it's now being controlled by everyone else, and then it's not getting the attention that it needs to foster relationships and to show that we care about people.
Exactly. I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because that was actually one of my things that I kind of pride myself on, is that I have never since the beginning paid for any advertising.
Yeah.
Everything is word of mouth.
Right. Absolutely.
And I fully believe in networking, whether it's for personal or your business. I think that is the only way to really be successful in life.
Totally.
Is to go out there and network and make those and foster relationships. Like I said, like those are all very important.
Right.
Because something else I've noticed is I moved from, like I said, a really big city, and I came here with the expectation that people would welcome me in and all this fun stuff, right? And I realized like shortly after, I was like, oh no, you really have to earn your spot, because and that's not a bad thing. That's the sense of community you don't get where I'm from.
Absolutely. And a lot of people ask like, oh, you're not in networking groups like that anymore. When we first came, I was in every networking group possible, and I found like a lot of them overlap. A lot of them, some of the same people that are in one, they're in another. So I think that's another thing as an entrepreneur. You have to know when to start scaling back your time and and pay attention to where you're giving your time. If you're not seeing an ROI from a specific group, you need to self-check yourself. Are you giving, are you putting in the work to see an ROI? Are you going into it with the mentality of what can I get? Why am I not getting money from this group? If you are, you have no business being in that group, because you should never go into it with an attitude of what can I get? It should be what can you give? Are you giving your time to this group? Are you helping other people in this group? Are you passing leads and, supporting other people? Don't expect, to get what you give back to you necessarily.
100%. I do believe in the giver's gain 1,000%.
Absolutely.
I know that it's a BNI thing, but when I heard it, I was like, that makes so much sense, whether it's in business or in your personal life.
Totally.
And so I'm one of those people where it doesn't matter if I'm in a networking group with you or not. If I know you and I love you and I support you, I'm going to shout you out.
Right.
So I love that.
And that was probably, if I'm being honest, and people probably are going to listen to this podcast and say, oh my gosh, did she really just say that? I'm going to tell you that. I am very specific about networking groups that I'm in now, because I have noticed that over the years they have changed and morphed into, if you are in this networking group, you're supposed to use just these people in your networking group. That philosophy makes no sense to me, because if you're in 3 networking groups, right, and you're supposed to use the people that are in those 3 only, how does that make sense? If you've got 3 different caterers in 3 different networking groups, but you're supposed to be exclusive to just the one in this group or this group or this group, how? You get what I'm saying?
I do, 100%.
You recommend just those, those 3, but then that goes against kind of the rules of some networking groups. You're supposed to just recommend the one. So I find that, that's great and it works for some people. For me, I'm like you. If you're amazing, I'm going to recommend all 10 of you. Like, what I mean? I've worked with this, and this. Like, here's 10. They're all great. Pick who you want. You know what I mean?
See, I love that because my worst referral, I don't like this, is when someone goes on and they're like, well, I use blah, 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 and that's it. No,
yes.
like my thing is if you're going to refer somebody, it needs to be, I like them because.
Right. Not just because we're in a group together.
Right. Not because I just met them. Do they do a good job? Do they handle your customer service appropriately?
Absolutely.
Do they do well with customer feedback, complaints, things of that nature? Like, I'm not going to send somebody to you who, if you're not going to be taking care of them, because that goes back on me as well.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't understand that. I can't just recommend anybody willy-nilly.
Right.
I have to build that relationship.
Absolutely.
And it took me a while to realize these things because I, off the bat, was like, cool, I have a group of new people I can recommend.
Exactly.
And then I get feedback and I'm like, oh, well, maybe not that.
Right.
Just briefly, I'll tell you a story. I was in a networking group and there was a plumber there. And first time I met him, cool, I had a friend who needed a really big job done. So I send him out there, he gets the quote, he gets the job. He messes the entire job up. He does not get a permit because, and I quote, he tells the owner of the home, well, I've never done that before, so I didn't think I needed to.
Oh my gosh.
So the county comes out and reams him, and so he ends up having to do this job extra, and there's no money for him in it.
Oh.
And now my client has been out for, of water for 2 months. And I was like, so no. That's why I fully believe it's got to be somebody I know, like, and trust. Which
Exactly.
Again, I understand that's probably the mantra, but
yes,
it has to be.
Oh, that's horrible.
You're right. That's why.
Not that we're discouraging networking groups, you guys, in any way, shape, or form.
No, we're not discouraging. We're saying make sure you evaluate before you refer.
Yes.
Make sure you're on the same page with them.
Absolutely. Wow, that's tough.
Nothing is more embarrassing than that.
Oh yeah.
I got the phone call and I was like, I don't know what to say. I'm apologizing for a business that I don't even run or you know.
Right.
So I was like, no.
Right. Absolutely.
I get that. Sorry, I math a little bit because I think about how I joined Tang, which is Triangle Area Networking, and they built my entire operation. Okay, I didn't have to pay for any advertising. They're the ones who put my name out there. And that was actually one of their philosophies is you don't necessarily have to use the people in this group. We'd like you to.
Sure.
But if you find somebody else more fitting, by all means, it doesn't, you don't get any negative feedback from it. So I really enjoyed Tang, and it kind of grew to be a little bit too much for me, not only in size of people, but size of referrals. I had to quit 2 years ago because I couldn't take on any more work.
Wow.
And I have not networked since then, and I attribute all of this to them continuously shouting my name out and helping me and, still fostering those relationships.
Right.
As well, there's someone else in the group who took my seat, which I love her. She's great. She is now someone I can send business to, like all my referrals that I can't handle.
That's awesome.
So that's just, I really appreciate networking groups.
Yeah, it comes back to like finding the right group that goes with what you need and what you believe. And that's what you did. You found the right group that correlates to what you needed and what you believe. That's awesome.
Exactly. And so that's like the other thing too. So make sure, then that's what the joy is about, visiting these groups and evaluating and making sure the relationships are going to work.
Absolutely.
So I do love that 100%.
For sure.
One question I always love to ask everyone who comes on here is, what advice was most impactful, and what advice would you give to someone wanting to start a business?
Ooh, okay. So most impactful is do what you do best and delegate the rest. That, when I heard that, was like, ooh, that's deep. It's little, but it's deep, right? Like, do what you do best and delegate the rest. As an entrepreneur, you wear so many hats, and you are trying to do everything. You're trying to run your books, your operations, your HR, your payroll, your this, your that, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like, you may be great at all those things. Okay, great. But if you don't enjoy them, don't do them, because then you're taking away your why. And at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, you need to have a why, so that there's a reason for you to get up every day and deal with let's just be real, the crap that can come your way.
Exactly.
All day, every day, but yet still have a joy about it, So as an entrepreneur, as you know, you're never really off the clock. Never. Sometimes you are, sometimes you're not. When you're off, you're still on. You know what I mean? It could be 11 o'clock and there's a problem, you're getting the phone call and you got to go fix it. So I think getting back to like your why and understanding like, okay, why do I do this every day? What is my plan? What do I want to happen? Like, all those things will keep you grounded. So that quote, the do what you do best and delegate the rest, is impactful because it kind of told me like, okay, great. I am horrible at math. I hate it with a passion. Get an accountant, Gabby. Do not do your books. You don't need to do your books. You don't know anything about doing your books. You don't need to know anything about doing your books in the sense of like learning how to do it. Hire an accountant and learn as an entrepreneur what you need to oversee from your accountant. Meaning,
yes.
As an entrepreneur, you better know, certain things about bookkeeping so that you can make sure your accountants know what they're supposed to be doing. But you don't have to be the one scanning in receipts and coding and doing all those things. Delegate that to someone who does it for a living. Same thing with HR. You don't have to deal with staffing problems. If it gives you anxiety and keeps you up at night, hire a fractional HR company. A boutique HR company that does that, for you as you need them. So having that quote in the back of my head at all times. If there's a task that I get that's sucking the life out of me and sucking the joy to like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this anymore, I know that I need to relinquish that to someone that enjoys dealing with that. So that's probably been the number one quote that I say like has always stuck with me. And then what was the second part?
The second part was, what advice would you give someone wanting to start a business?
Okay.
Which is I know, it's very broad. It's a lot.
Well, I know, you know this firsthand. They need to know their why. If you don't know why you want to do this, you will quickly not want to do it anymore.
Absolutely. Are you a very big fan of Simon Sinek?
I don't even know who that is. Who is it?
Okay, so, well, he was the guy that introduced me to the why thing.
Okay.
And basically he says, think about this. He says, Apple, they do this. They innovate. They teach you this. They do all of these things, right? But they also sell computers, right? So when you go to buy a Mac, you're buying why they do it. They do it to help people.
That makes sense.
Right? And so he was talking about, when you start with your why, because people always buy why you do it. They never buy what you do.
I love that.
So that is one of my favorite quotes, and that is actually what kind of started me with my business, is because my why is my children.
Yep.
I wanted to make sure that I was able to, my child goes to school, elementary school. I want to go to that concert. I want to go to that field day. My why is my ability to have control over not only my life, my schedule, but being to be present for my kids.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
I definitely feel like I started out in a really bad time with the pandemic, but we learned to pivot. I literally was like, hey, what would make sense to people in this moment? So I went, okay, and I started thinking, and this is going to age me 100%, but do you know who Alice from the Brady Bunch is? Mm-hmm. Okay, thank God.
I got you there, girl.
When I say people, they're like, I'm sorry, what? I'm like, oh, God.
No, I got you.
So I thought to myself, okay, well, why don't we just be a modern day Alice? And so we're not a cleaning company. We're a full service housekeeping company.
Oh, I love that.
So we're doing laundry. We're changing the toilet paper, filling up the soap. We're making sure that the rugs get in the wash and, everything in laundry, things that people just A, don't want to do, and B, it's more of a full service luxury experience.
Yes.
Other than just going in, moving your stuff. Cleaning.
Laundry is the worst.
Oh my God.
You fold clothes and hang them up?
I love laundry.
Oh gosh, okay.
Right?
I love it.
That's
I love you.
Everyone hates that, and I'm like,
I hate it with a passion. I will keep 3 hampers of clothes before I that are clean and just leave them there before I will hang them all up and put them in the drawers.
That is my favorite.
Oh, girl, we're gonna be best friends.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. No
Y'all
problem.
hire her, give her a call, and let her do a shout out in just a minute. Call her for all your laundry services.
Right, that's actually something that we started adding to it because we were like, what's something that the community I felt needed, but we just wanted to take off the plates of so many families. Whatever we could.
Love it.
We eventually thought about, this is just an idea that I thought about, is going more full service and offering meal prep services. Right?
I love it. We should have another meeting. We should have a meeting.
We should talk when we're not doing this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll go into that.
The idea.
Right? Don't take our idea.
That's a great idea.
But just trying to take off as much as I possibly could. So I am going to wrap this up, though, because it is getting late. We are recording in the studio, and I wanted to leave before it starts to rain. So I want to thank you, first and foremost, for coming out and spending time with me and telling people about your journey. Now, as far as your companies go, do you have a website they can go to? And all right, we will post all those details with the podcast episodes that you can know, like, and follow.
Perfect.
And do you have any last words for any entrepreneurs?
Oh man, like I said, just know your why. I mean, the world needs more entrepreneurs, right? All it takes is a wonderful, beautiful dream and hustle behind it to make it happen, So I think, if you have ideas, visions, dreams, goals, things that you want to do and a why behind it, whether it be you want to build, like she just said, she wanted to be able to spend more time with her kids and have her schedule. And for me, it's to be able to leave a legacy for my family and have be able to build generational wealth, and my family not have to worry about money or, whatever the case may be. And like I said, for me, it's the mentoring and the giving back. Know your why and start planning. Like, don't give up. Don't give up on your dream. You just need to have that hustle and that drive behind it, and then you pray about it, you give it to God, and it'll work out. So I would just say, the last thing I would say is, again, the why. Have a really clear, consistent plan of what you want to do and how you're going to do it. Take the time to plan it out. A lot of times when I mentor people, they have no idea. They have this great idea in their head, but no idea how to do it. So it's like idea to idea does not make sense. It's in your head, but you can't get it on paper. So, as like, it's got to make sense. The saying, make it make sense, is so true. If it doesn't make sense, you probably shouldn't be doing it yet. So take your time and really foster your ideas and make sure they make sense, and then you just go for it.
And always do your research, because this is not for the weak. I mean, I was on vacation this weekend, and I'm booking for clients for tomorrow, making sure that I take care of that. So it's a 24/7, but you also have more freedom with it.
I'm glad you said that, actually, before we end this. I'm glad you said that. That's something that we don't talk about a lot. People think, for some reason, we're just going to be blunt.
Yeah, right.
They think that it is glorified to be a business owner. Mm-hmm. You have freedom. You make your schedule. You make money, you do this, that, and the third, but they don't see the behind the scenes of it. They don't see that some days you may change clothes 3 times. You gotta go to a board meeting, and then go get in the kitchen and help your chef cook, and then go change again and go do this, and then go to the gym that night. Like, they don't see the ins and outs of the deep dirtiness of it. And they also don't see the headache behind it. You're responsible for people's paychecks. Right. A lot of times people think that they go to work, they get a paycheck, they're always going to have a paycheck. They don't understand that, like, someone's got to be responsible that they get paid, And I think that they think, a lot of times as a business owner, you just make money and you just get to, like, set your own, like, rate of pay. At the beginning.
Yeah, it does not work that way.
Oh my gosh, in the beginning when I opened my company, my assistant made more money than me as the owner.
I went through that as well. Yes, I had.
What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean you just get to make $100,000 a year in the beginning? No, not at all. Like, you might be making 15 and your team's making 20. Because you got to do what you got to do. At the end of the day, you're responsible for their paycheck. So I'm glad you said that, because I think a lot of times, like I said, people think it's this glamorous thing being an entrepreneur. At the same time, it's rewarding. There's a balance. There's a lot of things that are like, oh gosh, they might be listening to this like, well, dang, why would anyone want to do this then if it's a lot, like you just said, on your vacation and stuff? Because it's so rewarding. You get to spend all this time with your kids. You get to set your schedule. If you want to block off vacation, you can. If you don't want to work one day, and you have someone that can handle it, you don't have to. I mean, it's just, there's so many benefits to being an entrepreneur, but it takes a special type person. It is not for everyone. Like you said, it is not for the weak.
It's not. And that's why I'm really glad that you are touching on it too, because the whole reason I started this podcast was to open people's eyes and be like, yes, it is a great idea. We do need more. Yes. However, do you know behind the scenes these things also happen to everyone? It's not exclusive.
And I think the thing that you're doing with this podcast is so amazing, because I think if people really took the time to subscribe to a podcast like this, that they could really check themselves. Like, oh, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur and I have a great idea. Maybe they have a great business plan, but maybe they're not the type of person that wants this type of stress. Maybe they enjoy a 9 to 5, all this amazing work-life balance and all like PTO and health benefits and all this stuff. That's great. Not everybody that's attractive to, right? Like, to me, that's not attractive. Like, I would be bored out of my mind.
Same.
I worked a 9 to 5 for years and I was bored out of my mind. Like, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, you know what I mean? It takes a certain type of crazy, I say, to be an entrepreneur.
You're not wrong.
It's amazing, though. It's an amazing thing. And I think you doing this podcast sheds light on, like, look, anybody can do it, but not everyone should do it.
Right.
Because there's things that come along with it that you may not necessarily want to do.
That's true. And not all success is the best success. Like you were saying. So, whenever we had started, we had this is 2021, I believe. We were hiring people left and right. We had so much work. It was ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And guess how much money I made?
Exactly.
None.
Yep.
So you have to think about things like
Yep.
that. Are you willing to take literally no money to continue your passion?
Right.
You know, are you willing to make sure that, for example, Christmas is one of our biggest seasons. Now that we're switching to commercial, it should not be. However, everybody wants their house cleaned from November 1st until December 25th.
Sure.
You know, and so it's like you have to understand that like that's time you don't give your family. However, January rolls around and nobody calls you. You have the whole month to do whatever you want.
Right.
So if you can't handle something that's like so up and down like that, definitely this is not for you.
Right.
And especially financial, because you may be making $3,000 this week, but nothing next week.
Exactly.
And people need to understand, like, it's not just all glory. It's a lot of bullshit, literally, that comes with it.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
And so I agree with you 100%. So I do appreciate you coming out today.
Thank you so much.
So I'm gonna hope to have you back on here.
I would love it anytime. You're awesome. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for coming out. We should definitely set up for a year from now so that we can know what's going on with Mood Food.
I love it.
Shout out to Mood Food for keeping me healthy.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of Down Home Dirt, and we look forward to seeing you another time.